On the back of that, so that's Munster over. We know Leinster has another weekend to go, so we've decided to pick an all-star team for Munster. Well, I've picked my team. I wouldn't put that on Chris. I think that's a bit harsh. So I'll put my team up on screen, and it's up to you to absolutely slate it. So in goals, Anthony Nash. I think that's kind of a by default. Some of the other goalkeepers had difficult days. Conor Gleeson, cornerback. I think he's been exceptional. David McInerney, Colm Spillane of Cork. I think that I can't really argue with that one. Diarmaid Burns, Declan Hannon, Brendan Maher, Dara Fitzgibbon, Keane Lynch midfield, Peter Duggan, Seamus Harnedy and Tom Morrissey in the half forward line, and a full forward line of Graham Mulcahy, John Conlon obviously, and Patrick Horgan of course. Chris, any complaints there?
I'd probably say Mark Holman's very, very unlucky. I just thought he was brilliant, especially in the Munster final, and it's been very consistent all year. As well as that,
who are you dropping though? You got to drop somebody.
It's hard looking at that team who you drop, but I just think Mark Holman has been excellent. For Clare, I think David Reedy and Colm Galvin have been very good. Colm Galvin's been very consistent midfield. Who else? I think Seamus Flanagan, I know probably against Clare, wasn't one of his better games, but I think up to now he's been one of the finds of the season for Limerick. He's been brilliant. So maybe I might have him, but I tell you, him and Mulcahy is probably a toss-up.
David Reedy, I think you mentioned as well beforehand.
Yeah, David Reedy, like he's for a fella who's, I don't know what height he is, but he's unbelievable in the air, and he's just an all-round hurler. And I think it was definitely a wrong decision him being sent off against Limerick that day, and maybe that's gone against him, but I think he's been brilliant all year.
And he recovered then to score a goal in the Munster final as well, brilliantly taken.
Yeah, it was a great goal, yeah.
Yeah, Dan McCormick I thought for Tipperary was quite good as well. Noel and John McGrath at times, I mean, Noel McGrath inexplicably dropped for the last game.
Yeah, it's hard not to put one of the McGraths in that team, especially after the performance against Cork that day. That was one of the best performances of the year, really.
And obviously it hurt me not to put in some Tipperary players.
You'd probably have all tip if you could.
If I could. Can't have it every which way. So let's move on to the Munster against Leinster debate. There's no doubt about it. Munster is the best. Now, we did a poll and we'll get the poll up on screen shortly, but surely you judge a province by its weakest team, and the weakest team in the championship, no doubt, is Offaly. And I know that's a bit harsh to put that on you, but just first of all, we'll just look at the poll. So I put it up there. A lot of talk at the provincial finals about Munster being wide open hurling with no marking, whereas Leinster is more physical and intense. Which is better? 71% of 629 people said Munster is better, Chris.
I think it comes down to, you can't really answer that question until we see later on in the year if Kilkenny, Galway, Wexford, we'll see who gets the All-Ireland semi-final, who gets the All-Ireland final. I think if Kilkenny or Galway play Clare Cork, I think you could have two Leinster teams winning those games. So even though Munster hurling and like the Westmount final, it was a brilliant game to watch, I think like when it comes down to it, I think Galway and Kilkenny could be there in an All-Ireland final, yeah. So,
but there's classic games every week in Munster, whereas other than Dublin against Kilkenny and Kilkenny against Wexford, Leinster was dour.
I don't know about that. Like, it's nearly a different style of hurling. Like, I think Galway and Kilkenny are so physical, and maybe ourselves as well, where we've big men and we rely a lot on ball winners. Whereas, like, if you look at the likes of Munster and look at the likes of Clare and Cork, like the likes of if you have a forward line of Podge Collins and David Reedy and maybe Tony Kelly's up there, like they don't have the physicality or ball winner, so they just play a different style and different brand of hurling. Which team wins or which brand is more successful, we'll probably see. And I think Galway proved their brand of hurling is the most successful, and Kilkenny have over the last decade. So it's hard to argue that the physicality that the Kilkenny and Galway bring maybe might not look as good to the average person watching, even though I actually love watching the pure physicality and nutritional Leinster final last week. I think the Kilkenny and Galway could be on top.
Yeah, I think we have a couple of images of the Leinster final from last week which prove that it's a bit of a sheep in a heap. Look at that for the throw-in for the second half. 16 players in the space of 20 yards there as well. That's shocking stuff, Chris. Wouldn't want to be involved in any of that. Look at this. You wouldn't see that in Munster hurling. They'd be too busy throwing the ball over the bar.
They'd just be running away in Munster hurling.
They wouldn't be marking each other.
They wouldn't be marking. In Leinster hurling, you actually have to compete with someone for the ball. Yeah, but
will you go ahead?
I think it is a case of, because there's so much high ball in the play, maybe route one or maybe standard 15 on 15, that a lot of the times that if ball's poked in a half back or half forward, like if they win the ball, there's so many bodies around the break or around the person who catches the ball that there's a lot more rucks formed because of that. Whereas if you're playing the Munster hurling, if you look at Anthony Nash, like rarely, unless maybe it's going down on top of Seamus Harnedy, he's hitting it to a half forward or a midfielder who's on the move. Then when he gets it, he has a bit more space rather than like just standing underneath the ball.
Do you think that Galway became the sort of monsters they are now because they were thrown into the Leinster Championship? They knew every year they're going to be playing against Kilkenny, and obviously ye were a very physical team and challenging at the time as well, and you probably will again. But they were turned into the monsters. They were a product of the environment because that is what Leinster is, whereas previously they mightn't have been that type of team.
Yeah, that could be a case, or else it could just be a case of you play the style of hurling that suits the players you have. Like you look at the Galway players and the forwards are so big and so physical that that's the brand of hurling that suits them. Now I think you probably need to adapt and have. You can't just have, as we said earlier, you can't just have big men in the forwards or big men all over the pitch. Like you need to be able to play in different ways, and like you can get the ball high low into a lot of these forwards, even though they're 6'4", 6'5", and they can deal with it anyway. But I think it's more of a case dealing with the players you have. Like the best hurlers in Clare are the likes of Tony Kelly and Colin Galvin and the lads, and they're not 6 foot, but they're the best hurlers. So then you play a certain way to suit them. Like you're not going to play high ball on top of them all day.
Do you think that the referees tend to let more go in Leinster, whereas in Munster? And Derek Conan said this on Twitter to me as well. He was like that the referees let a lot more go in Munster. Whereas in Leinster, let a lot more go in Leinster, so therefore it turns into physicality. You do as you know, if you're getting away with it, you're going to keep pushing and be physical. Yeah. Whereas in Munster, it's blown up a lot.
I don't know. That's hard to know. Like I think every referee is different, and maybe referees it's slightly different, and like it can be a bit frustrating as a player some days when you go out and referees might be told, okay, watch the loose arm this week, or watch steps, or watch maybe that thrown for a hand pass, and that gets blown. So I think it just comes down to the referee more than anything. Like and if they can let the game go as much as often, I think that's the way to go. Really, like.
Just the final word on Munster then. Munster, any team can win Munster, and the best team in Leinster is possibly from Connacht, and the worst team wouldn't win a game in Munster as well.
I suppose if you're going through the worst team in Munster, you probably go Kerry. So
right, okay, fair enough. You might have me there. Yeah. You might have me there.